This is called an agricultural gate. Ag gate. So, for example, if I walked up there with my passport, I could not go through it. You have to be a farmer and have an ag permit to be going through. And in fact, you have to be a farmer that has land right there.
Is third-party nonviolent intervention. This is an example of one of the agricultural gates. And just to set the scene,
On the green line, the armistice agreement is way down over that hill somewheres. There's hundreds of acres there. These are the farmers who live in Palestine, who own the land over there. Everybody agrees they own it. Everybody agrees they own it. They have to cross through this gate to, in the morning and the evening, get there. We spent quite a lot of time at these gates because what we found was that the gate's supposed to open at 7, but the farmers had to get there at 4 or 5 because the soldiers would come at their convenience, open the gate, and when there's nobody there, they close it.
so there's an effort in our work in that case, to be very visible with the recording the times of opening and closing to try to bring that into a little better focus.
You're doing monitoring. Are you recording? And
Yes.
Who are you recording to?
So it depends on a lot of stuff that we've set up through to the UN because the UN wants to know. A lot of the work we do publicly. So we have a number of websites. So the ISF website, the MPT website, and wherever we can, we try to put it out because just making it public is valuable. Especially things, some of these things. Yes.
The purpose of this erratic timing is harassment and humiliation or something else?
So I have to be very careful not to instill people with reasons. I can tell you this though. So I would say, I think I can make 2 clean observations which are not speculation. I know I have been an occupying soldier, and you do what seems reasonable and practical to you at the time, which may be showing up early, maybe showing up late, depending on when you want to have your breakfast. With complete disregard of the animals that I use that word intentionally, that you're dealing with. So part of war is racism. Part of war, part of occupation is what we used to refer to as depersonalization, dehumanization, and demonization. And I've been there. So I recognize that's part of it. And then I would turn the clock to the other side. And if you are living in an area and you're dealing with the fact that they just put in a wall that cuts you off from your land, and in order to get there, you have to get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, but you may have it until 8 o'clock. It has to be extremely infuriating, incapacitating. So part of this process, this is the actual gate when they've opened it. You can see that they let them through 5 at a time when we were there. And you can see soldiers here with their face masks on, and over here, and with their weapons, etc., etc. And so what you do is you go over, you go through, they approve you, you go back, you get your tractor, you come through, and then some of these people are workers, so they don't have the permitting process for them is entirely different. A lot of them get turned back, and one of the things that the Palestinians told us about the process is that if you make a violation, or if you piss one of the guards off, they'll just tear up your permit. Because you can't get through there without a permit. And in theory, you can get another permit, but then again, there's a whole question of why they tear up your permit. And part of the process they do is that a lot of these permits have to be renewed regularly, and that's a very complicated process, etc. So there's other just crazy things about it. So for example, one day when we were there, they decided that they checked every single person, and if they had more than 50 shekels in their pocket, they had a choice. They could either give the soldiers the 50 shekels, or they go home. Because they weren't allowed to go across that day with 50 shekels, with more than 50 shekels. Now the law exists, it's just that it hadn't been enforced in I guess 6-8 months, and probably wouldn't be enforced again, but something else would get enforced, some other crazy rule or law. So there's a whole other story of this gate, this particular gate. They said they were going to close it at the end of December. And everybody's upset, and then right in the middle of December, they said this is the last day. So we got a bunch of internationals there to be there. the politicians, the mayor took it on, no, I'm sorry, the mayor Guichon, came out and so on, and there's all, and then the guards went and got their higher ups and blah, blah, blah. And part of the reason they went there, part of the reason they did the inspection while the commander of the force and the guard and the mayors and stuff was to prove that the land was being taken care of, as opposed to people just going across the road for something else. So it wasn't closed, and it would have been a really, really hard problem if they closed it, because it turned out, I mean, it was only like 5 kilometers down to
The next gate, but on the other side, there were no roads back up into their land, so they really couldn't, well, they could, but if they were going to do it, they were going to have to go through Israeli settlements, which wasn't going to work well for anybody, and it just wasn't very practical. So that a lot of us internationals showed up when they said they were going to close it. The local politicians showed up, et cetera, and in the end, after a good deal of negotiation, they finally agreed to keep it open. But again, it's the use of it's monitoring and witnessing that helps that process.
But in the end, they left the gate open. Now, how long? Who knows? But the gate's open. So.